You just gotta love that open. Wonderful. And here we go. Larry once again as a Canuck, taking on the Kings' Keith Crowder. Two heavyweights. Larry with 6 or 7 big lefts. Wow. Left. Wow, look at this. Ooh, Crowder. Melnick, a right. Look at this. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Melnick, deep in the archives at the old Pacific Coliseum, 1989.
With that fight, I got penalized and they won the game because they scored a power play goal because I was protecting my roommate, Robert Nordmark, who could squat about 700 pounds.
Wow. Weren't you and Crowder teammates?
Yeah, in Boston.
And furthermore, you were in the same draft. What happened? It doesn't look like there's any pleasantries here.
Well, look at Robert. He's 220 pounds. He goes down like a sack of flour, and I had to do something because that's what I did. So
you really mixed it up. I don't think you're going to get a Christmas gift from Keith Crowder this year.
No, and so I get emails from the Bruins alumni. I want to go back there I haven't been to the new garden or whatever they call it back there now. So
Bank North Garden.
Is that what it's called? Yeah. You've been?
Yes.
Yeah, I heard it.
Bruin game. I've been to a Celtic game.
Yeah, I heard it's unbelievable. So
look at this, our roving reporter.
The roving reporter.
Richard Spezzano. After a 4-week hiatus. Apparently some kind of social media issue, but we welcome you, our friend.
Yeah. Spaz, how are you?
TD Garden. It is TD back north. My apologies. TD.
There you go.
Welcome, Larry's podcast. Greetings. Thank you all for coming by. Larry P., Melnick, Clint, driving this enterprise magnificently.
Thank you. Larry M., a question for you. I was digging in the archives. I don't know a lot about golf, but tell me, is this a good shot?
Is that the Lawrence in?
Look
at that action shot. You see the ball and everything. Did he do a good job on that one?
Several birdies from a wonderful round a couple weeks ago.
Look at that. Now that's how you exit the bunker.
Is he wearing jeans? Is he wearing jeans on a golf course?
No. You see shorts.
Oh, okay. Anyway, hey, for someone
he wear jeans on a golf course?
No, there's people here that do, and it's just embarrassing.
Well, yeah, anyway. I played in Michigan back in October. My buddy Chris Johnson took me to the Notre Dame USC game. So we played at a club Friday, a public club right off of Lake Michigan. It was 52. I wore a pair of pants, had a little fleece, and it was wonderful. I prefer it to the brutal heat here. But I have worn pants, obviously, to play golf. You rarely wear pants anywhere.
I try not to wear clothes. It's getting hot. Can I say we're going to have an Indian summer? Can I say that? Is that okay?
Yeah, you said it last week. It's not offensive. You're not going to say a Native American summer.
Yeah. So it's hot here. So I try not to wear clothes. But Clint, Jessica's brother, Beal, if he was in the sand on a second shot, means he screwed up.
Oh, okay.
But he did get out of the sand. It looks like it's okay, but he should have followed through a little higher with it.
It was 174-yard par 3. I did fall short, and I chipped.
Nice. That's not bad.
Yeah, it's a nice shot.
Yeah. Well, at least you got out. So I play the same course, Carnoustie, which is not the one in England or Scotland or whatever. It's far from it, but I shoot a 78 a week ago. And then on what's today? Thursday? On Tuesday, I did 91. Same course, same player, same clubs. What the anyway.
Now, you played in multiple countries this week. You told me you were in Bellevue, Washington. You played.
That's right. Yep.
Now back in Canada.
Yeah.
So you're really living the life of not Riley, but Melnick.
I try and my wife of many years likes to stay at home. She likes to ride her bike, go to the gym, hang out with her friends, have coffee. I like the beer drinking. So about half an hour from here, 45 minutes, is about 5 of the nicest courses, mountain courses, flat courses, farm courses, and it's just it's a change. And so I'm going to get into this. I'm going to go off topic. Do you have anything that you want to say before I go on my rant? My soliloquy.
Usually we do the customary rant at the end, but feel free to rant away.
Okay, so I have high blood pressure. I don't know what happened with the doctor and whatever. So I didn't mention this to anybody, but yeah. So I go in to my doctor. My blood pressure is like 160. If you're up 190, 200, you're going right to the hospital. You're in trouble. So I'm up at around 160. I know, Billy. Soliloquy. Right off the bat, Billy contradicts
my blood pressure is spiking up over the last 7 minutes.
Yeah, I know. The same with the fucking jabroni from the last show. He didn't like when I went on the soliloquy. So anyways, I go and I go from the doctor to a specialist to the hospital for 2 4-hour sessions, 2 days in a row, 4 hours. And the girl says to me, and I had the same girl twice in a row, and they're doing a stress test. And I said, on the stress test, I said, I take my shirt off. I'm in not as good a shape as you. You're what you said, 5 feet, 200. I'm 6 feet.
No. I said 5'9", just short of 5'10", 200. Don't rip into me like that young girl that you grew up with that pissed you off at the reunion.
Yeah. So I take my shirt off, and the girl and the guy said, okay. I said, I'm going to break your machine. You know that. And there's 2 treadmills going at once. And the woman that's doing it behind me is done after about 30 seconds.
Why are there two patients at the same time on treadmills?
Because they're 2 different, it's flow. You got to go quick, right? So anyways, 20 minutes later, I blew the stress test apart. But so now I go into this other separate room where they put in a dye into my arm because they think I've got a blockage in my heart, which concerned me. And one of the doctors did say that's why they sent me to a specialist. So anyway,
also concerns 8 bartenders in your area.
And so here's what I said to the girl. I said, she said, or I said, listen, what can't I have, drink, eat before the test? She says, you can't have caffeine, you can't have grapefruit juice, you can't juices, you can't eat. I said, but I'm going to have 10 PBRs. She said, that's fine. So that's fine. The night before the test, each night before the test is a Monday, Tuesday. So Sunday night, I have like 10 PBRs. She said, that's fine. Well, look, unbeknownst to me, beer has 13 minerals, very high-end minerals that you need for your body. And if you stop drinking, it's going to shock your body. So how many minerals did you ask? 13. Let me name a few for you, Lawrence. Calcium, iron, magnesium, manganese, zinc, sodium. They're all very good for you.
Very impressed.
So today, I'm having a Molson Canadian. One of the viewers sent me a picture. Well, I can't afford Stella. Stella it's way out of my ballpark. So
it was a good week.
Excellent. So I go to,
and my stress test is tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. You're not going to make it through this hour.
I won't make 7 minutes.
You won't make through. So I go to the liquor store. We have our little BC liquor store. And just before that, I'm going to say one of the viewers sent me 36 PBRs in Wisconsin were $14.99. Okay. That's US. That's $22 Canadian. I go to the liquor store today to get this said Molson Canadian, $53 for 36 beers with $10 off. I nearly crapped my pants.
Wow.
So if the beer didn't have that many minerals in it, I would quit drinking.
I don't know if that's a possibility, but that's pricey. That's a big nut for you.
That's ridiculous. That's $40 more than you guys.
Well, it's getting very pricey here for everything as well. But, fortunately, beer and garlic sausage are still relatively attainable in the States.
So,
You must have had one of your little special snacks before the show.
So the fucking jabroni from the last show, my ex-defense partner said that if I had garlic sausage, cheese, and crackers, it's like what do you say? It's like putting, I don't know, butter in your veins or something. I said, fuck off. So my wife went to Costco. She gets the big party bag of chips. I had a little snack. Some barbecue chips. I had a little snack. And she's got the hot Italian sausage. And I had a little bit before.
She really takes good care of you, Rochelle.
Yeah, she does. So she went with my son. Every now and then they meet up. And so anyways.
Probably be a lot of hot Italian sausage this weekend. So,
well, unfortunately, I'm Ukrainian. She might like Italians better than me, but anyways.
Very possible.
Yeah. What's on the docket?
Gentlemen, tonight is our 5th show. 5 Thursdays this August, 5 shows each and every Thursday live at 8 o'clock on a variety of platforms. Friends never had more than 5 shows in the month.
Really? Wow.
Deep into the archives once again.
So, Lawrence, what's the difference between Jason and Travis and Taylor Swift getting 100 million and we're doing this show just because we're half-assed good at it? Question mark.
It's
question mark.
I got to think about that. Either we're doing something wrong,
yeah,
something real right, but
maybe they're more famous than us. I don't think so. They're just people.
Let's give us 5 more shows. Let's revisit that after the 10th show.
All right.
Now, last week we talked about Val James.
Yep.
And I want to take a serious tone for a moment. Clint, let's go to the videotape. As Warner Wolf, longtime sports guy in New York, would say.
Warner.
First, the infamous Val James, Terry O'Reilly brouhaha.
Yep.
Now look at this. Look at this man just pummel him. O'Reilly, always a tough guy.
Yep.
But Val James here, wow, impressive.
That was the first round of the playoffs. I don't quote me on the year. I'd say 82, 83. We had, I think, 120 some points, and they called up. Well, they had Playfair, and they brought up Val. And Taz. That's how Taz fought, though. I told you last week, he was a Tasmanian devil. He scrambles around. He was probably one of the worst skaters, but one of the hardest workers, and was like one of the, I think they have 10 guys that scored 20 goals or more. Nobody's ever done. No other team has ever done that. But
Taz was something. We've got another little bonus action footage here. Yeah. Only about 7-8 seconds, but our very own Lawrence Melnick here held his own. Kudos, my friend.
Yeah. Well, he knocked my helmet off, but hey, I'm still alive.
So anyways, something you really, held your own there. And then I want to take, as I said, a serious moment here. Valmar Curtis James, born in Ocala, Florida, and raised on Long Island in Hauppauge. He began skating and playing hockey in Comac, where his father was manager of the ice rink. He went on to play 11 games in the NHL for the Buffalo Sabres, which we saw there, and the Toronto Maple Leafs between 1981 and 86. The rest of his career, which lasted from 1978 to 1988, was spent in various minor leagues. In 1983, while playing in the AHL under the direction of rookie coach Mike Keenan, James scored the winning goal for the Rochester Americans in the Calder Cup. Much more than a tough guy, Val was a pioneer, as he was the first African-American to play in the National Hockey League. Now, most thought it was Willie O'Ree, but he was African-Canadian. So I would love to have Val James on the show. I'm sure he's got plenty of stories and to talk about some of the nonsense he was sadly subjected to. Again, Val James is a pioneer, and to him, our opening toast.
Yeah.
Thank you, Val.
Thanks for not killing me.
And thank you, Larry Melnick, for holding your own.
Yeah, and also, and that wasn't the whole fight. Obviously, it went longer than that because
we can't find it. I've seen fights with Alan Kordick. and a couple other ones, but we got the 7 or 8 seconds. But again, that's done.
That's good enough. So, and just to follow up to that, so if anybody knows where he is, like, we'd love to have him, obviously. But I think he was also put into the Rochester Ring of Honor or Hall of Fame.
For the Americans.
Yeah, for the Rochester Americans. That was this. Rochester and Buffalo are like the same, like, the same type of cities, like tough, like hardworking, and he worked well. You put him in front of the net on the power play, right? You're not going to move him.
No. And hopefully we can contact him. I've done some research. I believe he's in Canada, and again, would love to have him on the show.
Sounds good.
Now let's talk about a little hockey.
Sure.
Let's do a quick NHL preview as the 24-25 season is approaching. Which do you think will be the most interesting division, and who's your pick to win each division? Let's go one by one. Let's start first in the East, the Atlantic. You got Florida, Toronto, Boston, Tampa Bay, Detroit, and Montreal. I like the defending champion Florida Panthers to repeat. Larry Melnick.
Well, first of all, let me confirm from the last show, the Jabroni, I don't watch hockey, but I know a little bit about it. You know what? Here's a dark horse. Stevie Y in Detroit. Is that one of the, or is that one of the, yeah.
Oh, they're in the Atlantic.
Stevie Y in Detroit.
They're going to make the postseason. They're sneakers.
Yeah. So obviously Florida, Tampa lost a couple of guys. Not big mistake from letting what's his name, Stamkos go.
They've had a lot of turnover. It's been a machine the last few years, so they might be running towards the end. Boston going to be tough. Toronto, at least in the season, usually shows up. Not overly impressed with Montreal, Tampa Bay, but again, I go with my local Florida Panthers. Keith Tkachuk.
Good choice. Good choice, but let's also say this. I forgot what I was going to say. The C in Toronto. There's always turmoil in Philadelphia and Toronto. So Tavares gives up the C.
Yep.
I would say maybe he was pushed.
We'll get to the West shortly.
Yeah. Edmonton. Hey, I was pissed off they didn't win it. But anyways.
Go Panthers in 7. Let's move on quick. The Metropolitan Division. Rangers, Carolina, Islanders, Washington, Pittsburgh, your bullshit Flyers, New Jersey, and Columbus. I'm going with Carolina.
Boston.
Boston, very tough again.
Hey, let's get back.
Look at this.
Let's get back to Toronto.
Special guest. Hello.
Clint is an Ovechkin guy, and Clint is a Capitol guy.
Yeah, Clint.
Yes.
Jessica's brother.
Yeah.
We don't want to see that.
It's sorry.
I don't.
Capitals won the cup. I didn't see Clint at work for a week. He was losing it up, celebrating.
Yep. I went crazy.
With Ovechkin?
No. I just went crazy by myself. I was partying like I was part of the team, just not with them.
He was with the rest of the Beal entourage.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, let's go on now to the Western Conference. Our buddy Mr. Spazzano is ready. First, Central Division. You got Dallas, Winnipeg, Colorado, Nashville, St. Louis, Minnesota, Utah, formerly Arizona, whatever the name is going to be, and the dreaded Chicago Blackhawks. My pick here, Colorado.
Colorado, Dallas, and Nashville.
Stars always good. Barry Trotz is going to continue to do a great job being back running that Predator organization. So Dallas again. You got Winnipeg. Good division.
Can I just beat up on Toronto just a little bit, please?
Always. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. What the hell is wrong with that organization? Like, why would you strip? Okay, how many years did Tavares have the seat? 5, 6, whatever.
At least 5. You left the Islanders. I'm thinking in 2017.
Okay, so 5 or 6. They don't make it to the playoffs. So I don't get that. That's not going to change.
And they fired Sheldon. New coach. It's a mess.
But I do think with Berube, because he's a tough son of a bitch too.
Ruby's a tough guy.
With Ruby, those guys are going to be called out. There's going to be no what do you call that fancy dancy shit.
He won't put up with any crap. I agree.
Exactly.
Last, we got the Pacific: Edmonton, Vancouver, Los Angeles Kings, Vegas, Calgary, Seattle, Anaheim, and San Jose. Now, I think Edmonton and Vegas should battle it out, and but I think slightly I'm going to go with the slight nod to the Vegas Golden Knights.
I tend to agree with you, but I'm partial to Edmonton. I think their defense, I have no idea who's going to be the 5th or 6th defenseman. They lost that.
They played tough in that series. They came back 3-0, came back. They dominated game 3 at the end, 4-5-6. Panthers, again, I'm not going to say we're fortunate, but that series could have gone either way. It was a great series. Moving on, who do you think will be the regular season MVP this year?
Again, I don't watch hockey. Who's playing? Are there guys, lots of guys playing?
I think they're pretty much the same from last year. So I've got 2 that
McKinnon, McDavid. Who else?
I like Connor McDavid. I think he's going to be all fired up like hell after that series loss to the Panthers. And I'm going to put Austin Matthews up there.
Yeah.
Now, here's where we're going to be in agreement once again, and you talked about it. Who's going to be the biggest disappointment? No surprise here. I go with the Maple Leafs. Once again, no Stanley Cup championship since 1967. Front office changes, personnel changes. They've got every official who lives up in Ontario who gives them every favorable call. I see it all the time when they come down here to play the Panthers, whether it's Kerry Fraser back in the day or whoever. Every penalty would go against the Panthers. Blatant favoritism, and they find ways to lose year after year after year.
Good on them. I like it.
Fair. Anything else to say about former number 2 Blue, your former partner?
No.
Teammate?
Jabroni.
Did the Rangers ever get back to you for the outing?
No. Budget cuts.
Well,
I'm a budget.
I was planning on going with you to be your guest, so it sort of fucked up my plans. I had the reservation at Peter Luger's for us for Saturday night.
Oh Jesus, that would have been good, and you would have been buying because you got all the dough. The U.S. exchange rate is like 40%. I'm getting killed when I go down to the States, but I did win a little bit.
You were just in the States 48 hours ago. You had a free hotel room. You gambled. You talked about a $9 burger and beer.
Yeah,
you're living like a friggin' king in the States.
I went for lunch at the Coconut Grove. I couldn't remember what the name of it was last week. Coconut Grove on Marine Drive. I'll put a plug out. Every Monday they got a $9 cheeseburger and fries. And $4.
It'll cost us $6,000 to fly there, but let's go.
Yeah, $4 PBR. How do you beat that? And then on Tuesdays it's a $4 Mexican Modelo, Dos Equis. You can't beat it. You Americans are way smarter than we are. Way smarter.
Not necessarily. I live in Florida. Duh. DUH.
No tax. State tax.
There's no state tax.
Yeah.
Not in every state. That's why they're coming here from New York. They're coming from California and Texas, California to Florida, New York to Florida.
Exactly. That's why I come there to vacation in April. After the season, everybody went to Florida. From New York, from Boston, everybody on the East Coast goes to Florida.
Well, that's when I get out of. That's when I get out of Dodge.
Yeah, that's when you fly back up north.
I go visit Paul Melnick in April.
Yeah, well, you go visit Spazzano. He'll talk your ear off. He's unbelievable.
Where is Richard Spazzano? Is he in Jersey?
He's in no, I don't think. Contratidiak's in Jersey, an hour and a half away.
Billy
Nesh's in Jersey.
He's in Jersey. We got a big Jersey following.
Spazzano's by the fucking Jabroni.
Oh, out in Greenwich.
Yeah, up somewhere around there.
You talk about a hoity-toity community.
Yeah, had the cat.
There he is.
Yeah, exactly. He's got a big Cadillac. He said, "Larry, I'll come and pick you up." He said, "Richard." Yeah, he's in Greenwich.
Connecticut.
Beautiful. That's where I lived. Beautiful area. So
right by the Metro North train station. I was there last in March. Greenwich actually is very nice. Right on Long Island Sound. Right on the Connecticut-New York line. Very nice spot.
People think that New York is like, well, humid, dirty, stinky,
And it
like
is.
no trees.
Yes, all of the above.
Yeah, but come on, you can go to Central Park and it's gorgeous, right? But downtown,
I wouldn't go there now. I would have gone there when Giuliani was in office, but I'd be a little leery now.
Yeah, I heard that, but that's
anyway. But as long as you're packing, Lawrence.
I carry a switchblade when I walk around here.
It's the mark of the squealer. You go for you see blood. You would have been a great character in West Side Story. Now you're bringing out switchblades. That's how you do.
They're illegal in Canada.
You're armed in Canada.
Yeah. Well, you have to. The world is fruit. Like, holy crap.
We've got an election coming up in this country, not to make the show political, but we've got 70 crazy days coming up. I don't know who's running the country right now. Crime is through the roof. Everybody around the world is coming in. It's very dangerous in a lot of ways. And prices, which we talked about, are going up. Yeah. Fuel, the gas tank, produce, dairy. So it's we'll see what happens. Can hope for the best.
So I told you I drove from here all the way through the States. I'd fill up my tank for $18. I go up to Canada, it's $55. So I go down to Bellingham.
How is it so cheap? You filled up the Mazda convertible for $18?
Yeah.
How many gallons?
In the States. I don't know
how many gallons.
It's still 500 kilometers. What's that? 300 miles, 400 miles.
But even for regular, it's $3.50 a gallon.
Our gas is
12-gallon tank.
$8 a gallon.
You probably don't get the best gas mileage lugging around that 100-pound golf bag with all the crap that's in it. Your snacks, your cooler of beer.
Eight beers.
When you went to the wedding, your TikTok suit. You're lugging a lot of weight for a small convertible.
Well, I know. And I was going 90 miles an hour against the wind.
That's what Rochelle said last night when I had my, pre-show call.
Yeah. Anyway. Oh, shit.
Let's go to our famous Clint Cue It Up. It was so popular last week. We'll simply call it What the Puck.
Oh, boy.
Clint Cue It Up.
Oh.
Here we have our hero. This was fourth penalty that night against the Penguins. The spewing of profanity that came out of that mouth would be offensive today, let alone 35 years ago. Look at him. This is our hero, ladies and gentlemen, Lawrence Joseph Melnick.
Should we unmute it? No, I'm kidding.
No, you can't unmute it. There would be no six show.
No.
You'd pull me down.
My kids watched
and I'd have to beg the Kelseys to get some kind of gig.
My kids sent that to me after the fact. They said, what are you doing? I said, well, that's what we said back in the day.
The line score was 0 goals, 0 assists. And I believe you had a game misconduct.
Yeah.
3 minors. So again, you got the 2 rings, but it was quite a zealous career.
Yeah, I don't know what to say.
Now, how was tell us about the week though? Any new grievances? And then I'll share mine. What pissed you off this week?
Well, my golf game, first of all. I threw a couple of clubs the other day when I shot the 91. When I shoot 78, I'm happy, right?
Like the volcano?
Oh, frick, like the volcano. But I throw it. I've now learned that when you throw your golf clubs, don't throw them up in the air where they hit the cement and then they snap, because that's $100 to fix the shaft.
The shaft is.
So now I throw them sideways into the grass, sideways.
That's like a one timer. That was an original.
Yeah, I got a good chuck. So, and then if I was putting, we were putting, and I hate to say this, but we were putting like we had no idea. So if I missed the putt, I'd take my putter and I'd smash against the the flag, and it's a steel flag or metal flag. So that's not really good for your putter.
This was the
So I
same
gotta-
round. All this.
I'm almost 64, and I act like I'm freaking so immature. But anyways, you can't take.
You're young at
just,
heart.
you got to do
That's
well.
what I would say.
Yeah, you got to. I have to do well. If I don't do well, I get pissed off.
No, you're competitive. You're a former professional hockey player. You're competitive.
Yeah.
You take pride in your golf game. You take pride when you go to the superstore. You get your paper goods. You get your meats. You smoke meats. You pack a nice muffin, sandwiches when you go out and play. You take pride. You want to perform well.
Exactly.
You
Speaking of golf,
now that's a chip. Look at that. Look at that sandwich.
Yeah.
That was it was 3 Saturdays ago, and that was the same day I hit that magnificent shot with one witness, the great Michael Dennis Lang from Air on the Clock. I chipped it in from over the trap onto the green, a beeline 20 feet for the 2. That was a legitimate 2. Beautiful birdie at the wonderful moorings.
You got a birdie. You put that in.
Not that one, another one. No, that was a par 3.
Yeah.
I got the par.
You sure?
I did.
What's this? What's the stimp on your greens?
The stamp?
Stimp. How hard are your greens? If the pros
Well,
play
they were rated recently, so it's
13, 11, 12. Pros are 13. You're probably 10, 11, 10 and a half, something like that.
Now, Hawk's Nest, which is being renovated now, a full burn, it's a Fazio course, will reopen in hopefully November. That most likely would be a 12.
Well, these greens we played on, we just couldn't figure it out. And we used some words that I won't say on today.
These
but
greens are tough too.
It was like we had no idea.
They show you drive for show, putt for dough.
Yeah.
Now, I got a couple grievances. And we're very similar. We don't really have a high threshold for stupidity.
No.
So last Saturday, my wife was out of town for a few days. I picked her up at the airport. Small municipal airport about an hour north, Melbourne, Florida. So for your future reference, you could fly into Melbourne from Charlotte or Atlanta direct, and then you can go anywhere around the country. So we stopped for dinner on the way out. Nice place on the water on the Indian River. Sitting at a table in the bar area, piano player, very nice. Menu comes out. So I see first, I go to the cocktails. Nice, smoked, old-fashioned. Perfect. No price. So I know you're going to get gouged with the price. I have no problem with that. The drink comes out. The big ice cube, which I like, there was nothing in it. There was maybe 1 ounce. So it was one of those 1 ounce, just like Ted Steakhouse 30 years ago in New York, the measured ounce. It was one shot. I drank it. I ordered another one. Same thing. Third one, I just said, just give me the Angel's Envy. Remove everything else. Same thing. So not that I expect it to be Bobby's, run by the great Bobby McCarthy here in Vero, my go-to, which would be your Earls or the Moorings, where it's a legitimate pour, like a 3-for-1. It just pisses me off.
Yeah.
I don't like that. There was
So-
one other instance. I went to a Chinese restaurant for lunch this week, right by the radio station. It's about 11:45. They just opened up. Small place, mostly takeout. 4 booths on the left, 4 booths on the right. 2 small tables in the middle. I sit down the furthest right booth in the back. And I'm hanging out. Within 10 minutes, 2 old begs come in. Where do they sit?
Right beside
The
you.
first friggin' booth right in front of me. And then the phlegm. Just ridiculous. You have 11 possible spots where to sit, and they got to friggin' be right on top of me. It's like coming back when you park your car, like you and me, as far away. The friggin' car is right next to you. You got to get in your car in the passenger seat. I don't know where there's any room to even move.
So let's get back to the drink. I'm going to use the French. Did you have a Quelle Surprise on the price of those drinks.
It actually was not unreasonable, $16 for a beverage. So I've seen worse. I've seen 20, 22, wherever you go here,
for 1 ounce?
There's certain places I'll go to, but in certain restaurants, they're going to whack you. I had no problem, being in a nicer restaurant. But again, just give me at least a decent drink.
Yeah.
Or else I'm just going to, just drink beer. Even that's probably $8.
Yeah, it's $16. Like, holy crap. We'll
go
to Vegas.
Vero Beach, ladies and gentlemen, the great Bobby McCarthy from Long Beach, Long Island. It's an old Dodger bar. That's my go-to. I'll be there tomorrow for lunch.
How far is that from your house?
1.5 miles.
1.5 miles. You wouldn't walk it because you'd be dripping sweat in like 30 seconds.
Lawrence, it's 108 degrees here with the heat index and the humidity. It's brutal.
Well, you can lose some weight. You're 5 foot 200. You might want to lose 10 pounds.
Why do I keep shrinking now? I went from 5'10" to 5 feet to 4'11" to 4'2".
Anyway, what else we got going on?
I do want to make one comment here.
Uh-oh.
The great Sam Rosen, Hall of Fame Rangers play-by-play announcer, will retire after the 24-25 season. 4 decades, a wonderful job. I thank you, Sam Rosen at MSG.
He was unbelievable.
Wonderful. And he replaced Jim Gordon, who did the Rangers, who did the New York Giants, and his color was the big whistle, Bill Chadwick. Those guys were phenomenal. Those were the play-by-play guys when you played back in the 80s.
That's
back
right.
in the glorious golden era of hockey.
Yeah, well, and then Sam and Johnny Davidson were unbelievable.
Jake was great. Esposito did color for a long time before he took the gig down in Tampa.
Phil was a little choppy. Let's be honest. And everybody up in the Blues in Ranger Town, up in the arena, were chanting, "We want Phil," and that's how Phil he went from the color booth, doing color as an analyst, and got the GM job, and then he fired Ted Sater, and then he got the coaching and GM job.
He did everything there.
And then, he did everything. Then he made like 70 trades and traded the whole damn team away. So, anyways.
Yeah, Gordon, Chadwick, and Espo. I remember the trade.
Hey.
Esposito coming over the Rangers. That was part of the Middleton trade, and Brad Park went bye-bye, and Jean Rattel. And that trade did the Rangers in for years.
Yeah. Sometimes the best trade you make is no trade. Like, just sit. Like, Pat Quinn was unbelievable here in Vancouver. Him and Brian Burke. They made one big trade that put him over the top. But other than that, he'd stand pat and he'd stick with his guys. He'd always come in the trainer's room or the dressing room after the game. So would Brian. And Pat was more serious. Brian, believe it or not, Burke was more of he was a jokester. Like, he'd come in and he'd put that freaking Donzi's garbage bag on because he was always fat, right? Pat was a big man. Berkey, I called him Burrhead because his head, he just, look at his hair. Like, he just slicks it back. I called him Burrhead.
It was like that Don Rickles. You just put that one strand of hair aside.
You just slick it back, and like and Brian, if you buy a $300 tie, do you think you might want to tie it up and look presentable? No, got to have his own style. So, anyways, those are good.
Seriously, they were good to you.
Great to me. I got traded from New York, which to this day, and I said it on the last with the fucking jabroni. I said I did not want to leave New York. I don't know how long I would have kept playing. The body was starting to break down. I wasn't a big guy, and so, but I did not want to.
You were tough. What 5'3", 5'4"?
Well, maybe a little
5'3",
taller.
5'4", 180.
Maybe a foot taller than you. And I was almost 200 pounds. They got the stats guys never got anything right. It's a joke. But anyways, the third game after I get traded, what? It's the truth. The stats.
You see that a lot in football. They'll bring in the receiver. It'll show 6'2", 170 when he's 5'4".
Exactly. So I block a slap shot because I blocked lots of shots. and I broke my cheekbone, and I got thrown into hospital, and Brian Burke and Pat Quinn came into the hospital and saw me, and like they were good guys, like really good guys.
Now, you were an alternate at one point with the Canucks, weren't you? You were the 8.
Yeah. They thought I was kind of a leader, which, yeah, do you want me to tell you that story, or?
Yes.
Do we have time? We're already 40.
We got plenty of time tonight.
Today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Labor Day, holiday weekend, we got plenty of time.
Okay, so I blocked the slap shot from Randy Carlyle in Winnipeg. I'm out for a month and a half.
Wow.
Broke my orbital bone in 4 places. I got wire mesh, put my eye. Lucky I didn't lose my eye.
Wow.
So I come back a month and a half later, and the doctor says I got to wear a shield. So now we're in Calgary. We're one of the worst teams in the league. Like I grew up playing in New Westminster, which is Vancouver, basically just a suburb, and I love the city, but I did not want to come here to play. I wanted to stay in New York or stay on the East Coast, because Boston, New York, well, God forbid, even Philly at the time inquired with Pat and Brian about possibly trading for me, and that was confirmed by Mike Keenan.
The Flyers?
The Flyers, because I fought Dave Brown and I fought a couple of guys, they thought maybe I'd be a good fit there, which, whatever, didn't happen. So second last game of the year, we're 30 to 40 points out of a playoff spot, and we get beat by Calgary, who eventually wins the Stanley Cup. This is 1989.
Lanny McDonald and those boys, they won it in 89. So second last game of the year, we're just playing for pride, and we lose 6-2. I think I was -4. I didn't play good. I was supposed to be a defensive defenseman. Some days I just didn't have it. And you don't have it. I wasn't that good. Anyways, so Bobby McCammon, called him Cagey because he's a really funny guy. He was in Philadelphia along with Brian and Pat Quinn. They all ran the organization there. They're all friends. So they all come here. They trade for Davey Richter, who played in Philadelphia. I fought Davey. I didn't do very well. Fought him. Darryl Stanley was in Philadelphia. Craig Cox. We had the toughest team in the league, in my opinion, but we couldn't. So we're in Calgary. We lose 6-2. Second last game of the year. Nobody gives a shit. We're just one game away. We're going on holidays. Bobby McCammon comes in, and I'm standing up, taking my equipment off. He said, "Everybody sit down." And everybody sits down except for me. And he starts going around the room and yelling at Richie Sutter, "What the fuck? You haven't done a thing all year." And he starts ripping into everybody. Then he comes to me and he says, "Melnick, we brought you in to be tough and fight and everything. And I'm wearing a cage, which I've never worn in my life." And he said, "We brought you in to be tough. You've been playing the shits. Take your mask off for the next day." I said, "What are you, a fucking doctor?" The doctor told me I had to wear the mask. Wow. And him and I started arguing, which is what I do because he challenged me. Nobody else challenged. I challenge him. And as he's leaving the dressing room, I pick up my skate and I throw it at him. True story. With the blade?
Threw my skate at him with the blade. True story. It hits off the door and hits our goalie, Frank Caprice, our backup goalie. Kirk McLean was our number one goalie. Hits Frank Caprice. The next morning, it's in the paper. Melnick throws skate at McCammon. What are they going to do with him? Blah, blah. So now they didn't, it's after the trade deadline, so they couldn't do anything. I go to training camp the next year. I take the mask, the plastic mask off, the half mask that everybody wears nowadays. And I go into camp. I have a great camp. I fight a bunch of guys. And Jack McElharty, who again, is from Philadelphia, played in Philadelphia, played for the Canucks, was a coach in Philly, comes in and says, "Larry, McCammon wants to see us." I said, "Oh, here we go. What's going to happen?" So he brings me into the office. He says, "Listen, we really like the way you carried yourself last year, even though I did challenge you and blah, blah." He says, I said, "What are you going to trade me? What are you going to do?" He said, "No, we're going to make you an assistant captain." And that's how that happened. And that's the truth. But the fact of the matter was, somebody in our dressing room shouldn't have been talking. And that was the problem with the Canucks at the time. The core, they shouldn't have told anybody what happened in that dressing room that
should
night.
have stayed within the dressing room, blockaded within the organization.
Yeah. And let's put it to this way. You know, you put me on a you know, you think I played in the NHL, big freaking deal. I was an average player, but I had, I think I had a leadership, but if I said something, it wouldn't have meant as much as if a Trevor Linden said something, or a Kirk McLean said something, or a Messier or Gretzky, or, you know, the guys, Sidney Crosby, those. But you have to have the role players like me, sixth or seventh defenseman, to stand up and do some shit that other guys won't do because they're good playmakers.
Well,
right?
You're very modest, and you backed your guys, and you would take on guys that were much bigger than you, and you fought and you took on every tough guy. You didn't back down, so you earned the respect in the locker room, within every organization you played with. And yes, you got to have role players in all sports, and
Exactly. But
you know, it's I'm glad they bumped you up and gave you the A.
Yeah. So and that year, actually, we started to turn it around a bit. We brought in Paul Reinhardt, Stevie Bozak, Robert Nordmark, like I mentioned, and we lost to Calgary, and they won the cup So anyways, we started to turn. And then '94, Pat made that big trade for Jeff Courtnall and some other guys, Robert.
And they took the Rangers to 7.
And they took them. Yeah. So as soon as I left, they started to get good.
Yeah. They were very good in the 90s. They lost to the Rangers in 7.
Yeah.
Your buddy Harold Schneps was on that 94 team.
No, that's 82. He's 400 pounds and he's 92 years old. So no, we don't want to talk about him.
Okay. Well, the good thing was you've matured. 30 years ago, you threw a hockey skate, you know, at the general manager, and this week you're throwing golf clubs. So, you know, you're the same Lawrence Melnick, which we love.
Why? If you change, you're just gonna, like, how can you can't change? My wife says you need to change. I said, yeah.
No, we can't. It's
you gotta have.
You can't change. I can't change. Clint won't change.
Clint's
the best of the three of us, so he doesn't have to change. Me and you are probably bad seeds.
I do need to meet his sister, though, Jessica. She's one of my favorites.
We've gone over this.
She's probably putting on some pounds.
There's no relation. No relation.
Clint, there's a relationship. Come on. Don't. So
he's very, very coy about that. I think there is.
Yeah. So let me bring up, and I don't want to use up all of our stories and data and everything, but I did a little homework. Do you remember Al and Peg Bundy from Married with Children? Christina Applegate.
Yes, Al was a shoe salesman. Peg.
Yeah.
So they had the 2 kids, the goofy neighbors.
The 300-pound woman would come into the shoe store and say, hey, excuse me, you're very rude. Well, I'm trying to put a size 4 shoe on a whale, and it's a size, you got to be at least a size 9. And you can't get away with that shit anymore.
He was a regular guy, though. You know, that was before his politically correct. He got stuck working in a shoe store. He wanted to go to the strip clubs, drink his beer.
Exactly.
Was miserable at home. Was a lousy father.
He took his son. What the hell was the kid's name? The son's name.
What was his name?
Chad, not Brad. Chad, Brad, whatever.
So anyways, a little daughter, and
Christina.
He was very funny. He was sarcastic.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm in Winnipeg, and we're having beers with my buddies that I've known for 52 years. I mentioned that. So he brings up this because he's got a memory. He's a teacher, so he's extremely. He remembers everything, and I
got that recall.
Yeah, he's got that. So once he starts, then I can start remembering things. So, anyways, Peg Bundy goes to Al, and she says, Al, A, would you rather spend the night with your wife? B. So the whole 3 or 4 days I'm with my buddies in Winnipeg, you say, hey, what are you doing? B. Would you rather spend the night with your wife? A. No. B. even before she has a chance to say anything. B.
Multiple choice.
But last
We're being reeled in by Clinton, Jessica Biel.
Jessica.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We got a Labor Day holiday weekend, Lawrence, here in the States.
Yes.
So they probably have a bonus burger and beer special in your little Georgia. We will be back next Thursday, each and every Thursday. Next week will be the actual six-pack, episode number 6, as we move forward with this extravaganza. So for Larry P., Larry M., and the great Clint Beal, who has orchestrated this amazing shindig each and every Thursday, we thank you, and see you next week.
Дай Боже.
Keep it real.